Hey guys, welcome to CodeChef's YouTube channel. The problem that we are going to discuss today is make them equal. The problem appeared in Starters 18 of November 21 and is a difficulty level of cakewalk. There are no prerequisites to solve this problem. The problem statement goes as follows. Chef has an array A having n elements. Now, Chef wants to make all the elements as equal by performing the operation repeatedly. So the operation is that choose an integer k between 1 and n and then choose k distinct indices i1, i2 up to ik and then increase the value of all these elements by 1. Okay, so this is the operation and chef can use this operation repeatedly as many times as he wants until all the array elements are equal. Okay, so that is our goal. So we have to find the minimum number of moves required to make all the array elements equal. Okay, so let's understand this with the help of an example. So let's say if one element is 3, first element is 1 and the third element is 2. So what can chef do to make all the elements equal? Now increasing the element 3 from 3 to 4 does not make any sense. Why? Because as you can see in the example, 3 is the maximum or the biggest element in the array, right? So and because in our operation the elements can the value of the elements can only go by can only go up, that is one at a time. So we'll try to make all the elements value equal to the value of the maximum element, right? That is 3 in our case. So the value 1 has to go from 1 to 2 and then from 2 to 3. Okay, and the third element has to go from 2 to 3. So how many steps or how many moves did the first element take? The first element actually required 2 moves and the third element required 1 move. But does that mean that our answer is 2 plus 1, that is 3? No. Why? Because we can increment multiple elements at the same time, right? That is, earlier our array was 132. In one move, we can make it 233. Why? I just chose these two indices and incremented them by 1. It, it is allowed in our question, right? In the problem statement, it is allowed. And then what I do, in the next step, I make it 333. But how? By choosing this index only once. That is only the first index is chosen. So how many steps did I take? In only two moves, that is this is one move and this is the second move. In two moves we were able to make all the array elements equal, and it is quite intuitive that all the elements should be made equal to the maximum initial element. So initially whichever is the maximum element in the array, all elements should be equal to that element in the end. So this is what the question is all about. Okay, and in the process we have also kind of discussed the solution. If you are paying attention, we have already discussed the solution. Now what is the solution? We don't have to add these numbers. That is the first element took actually two moves, the third element took one move, but we don't have to add them. Rather we have to see that what is the maximum among them. So this element is taking two moves, but this element is taking only one move. So at max we are needing two moves because they can be clubbed together, right? Because one is less than two, this one move can be a part of one of the two moves, as you saw over here, right? So what is going to be our solution approach? Our solution approach is going to be as follows. We have the array elements, that is we have the array elements a1, a2, a3 up to an. We have some maximum element, initial maximum element, which is max of our whole array. Then what do we have to find? We have to find the maximum of at the end all elements should be equal to this maxx. So we have to find the value of maximum of max minus a1 comma max minus a2 max minus a3 and so on for all the elements, because that's what we just saw, right? If the max element is 3 and the current element is 1, we require 2 moves. If the max element is 4 and the current element is 2, we again require 2 moves. But that does not mean that our answer is 2 plus 2, 4, because these moves can be clubbed with each other. So whatever is the maximum amongst these individual values is going to be our answer. So with that, I think the solution approach is clear. We can move towards the implementation. So the implementation, I'll be doing it in two languages, C++ and Python. First in C++. So the implementation in C++ goes as follows. First, we take the input for number of test cases. Then for each test case, we have the integer n as the input, that is the length of the array. So I take that as the input. Then we have to take the array input as well. So I do that in a vector. So we have a vector, and then I just write a for loop and take the array input. After that, I need the value of the maximum element. So that I am going to store in a variable called max. And we can use the inbuilt functionality of uh, max element to find the maximum element from our array. So star max element, the syntax is a dot begin comma a dot end. So now we have the maximum element. Now we need to find our answer. So answer is initially 0, and then I iterate over all elements in my array A, and my answer is max of max minus x. Why? Because I am iterating over all possible elements x in the array, and the answer is maximum of max minus x. So once we have the answer, we finally output the answer and print a new line. So this was the implementation in C++. Now similar implementation can be done in Python as well. So we can do something like for test cases in range int input, that is the input for number of test cases. Now for each test case we have to take the input of n first. So n is equals to int input. Then we have to take the array input. So let's store the array in the variable a. So int x. So we have taken the array input as well. A is equals to int x for x in input dot split. And then now we have to find out the maximum value. So in Python it's pretty simple. Max of a is basically the max value, and then we have an answer variable as well. So answer equals to 0. Then for all the elements in a, basically answer is max of answer. Oh, so we are updating answer every time, right? So we have to write answer equals to max of answer comma max minus the element. So you can see that the same mistake, we made a mistake in the C++ implementation. So the implementation should be answer equals to max of answer comma max minus x. Okay, because we have to keep updating the answer variables. We have to keep checking it with itself as well. So uh, there are some small mistakes which people tend to do while implementing code. Even I did a mistake right now. So but you don't, if you keep attention to these tiny details, you will not make these mistakes during a contest. So make sure that you are implementing and uh, not making such mistakes. So for element in a, answer equals to max of answer comma max minus element. And that's it. Once we have the answer with us, we just print the answer on a new line. Okay, so that's it. Our implementation in both the languages is done. I think it's correct for both the languages. Now only thing remains is to submit the code on CodeChef, test the correctness. So let's submit the code. Great. So our solution works. I hope you guys understood the problem as well as the explanation and implementation. If you have any doubts, you can post them in the comments below. I'll try to answer as much as I can.